The Capo, Don't Ask for Respect, Command It. Written and published by the Zillion Pro. Chapter 1, The Making of a Capo, Power, Fear, and Respect. Every empire begins with one truth: respect is the foundation of power. Without it, titles mean nothing, wealth is temporary, and influence crumbles. A capo, whether in the streets, the boardroom, or life itself, knows this better than anyone. You see, people don't follow because of love alone. They follow because of respect. And respect is never asked for, it is commanded. To become a capo is to step into a role where fear and admiration intertwine, where authority is unquestioned, and where your presence alone shifts the room. The birth of authority. No one is born respected. Respect is forged. Like steel in fire, it comes through trial, through challenge, through risk. A capo isn't the loudest in the room, but the one who cannot be ignored. Every move is calculated, every word carries weight, and every silence screams louder than the chatter of weak men. To make yourself a capo, you must learn one rule: power is perception. If others see you as strong, disciplined, and untouchable, then you become exactly that in their eyes. The moment you look uncertain, the moment you act like you need approval, you've lost the game. Fear, the first layer of respect. Let's speak plainly. Fear is a weapon. A capo doesn't misuse it, but he doesn't ignore it either. People respect boundaries enforced with strength. They respect consequences. The man who cannot punish betrayal cannot demand loyalty. But fear alone is brittle. Build only on fear, and the moment you're not present, chaos erupts. A capo uses fear as armor, not as his foundation. It protects him, but it does not define him. Respect, the true currency of power. Real power comes when fear is paired with respect. Respect makes people protect your name even when you're not in the room. Respect makes followers into defenders. Respect makes enemies think twice before moving against you. Respect isn't given freely, it's earned by consistency. A capo says what he means, and he means what he says. He doesn't break his word. He doesn't bend his rules. He doesn't compromise his authority for the comfort of others. That's why his influence lasts. The making of you. If you are to walk the path of a capo, understand this: people will test you. They will doubt you. They will challenge your presence, your discipline, and your resolve. These are not setbacks. They are the very fires that forge your authority. To rise, you must cultivate 3 qualities. 1. Strength of will, the ability to stand firm when everyone else wavers. 2. Control of emotion, the discipline to never let anger, fear, or desperation dictate your actions. 3. Command of presence, the mastery of how you move, speak, and carry yourself. The capo doesn't shout to be heard. He doesn't beg to be followed. His very silence commands attention. His gaze alone can quiet a room. The law of the capo. Write this in your mind: respect is not asked for, it is taken. To be a capo is not to chase approval, but to embody power. And the first step on that journey is this: stop waiting for people to recognize your worth. Decide that you are the authority, act like it, live like it, and the world will follow. Key takeaway of Chapter 1. A capo is made through power, fear, and respect, but above all, through the unwavering command of presence. Respect is the foundation of authority, and it must be commanded, never requested. Chapter 2. Respect is not given, it's taken. There is a dangerous illusion many fall into: the belief that respect is something people will generously hand out when you prove yourself worthy. That if you work hard enough, if you're good enough, if you're patient enough, people will recognize your value. But let me be clear, that's a lie. In life, respect isn't a gift wrapped in silk and presented at your feet. It's a fortress, and only those bold enough to storm it, to claim it, to demand it without apology, ever truly possess it. The myth of asking for respect. When you ask for respect, you lower yourself. The very act of asking says, "I don't have it, but I'd like it, please." That's weakness, and weakness invites exploitation. Think about it. Have you ever seen a lion asking the jungle to recognize him as king? No, his presence, his dominance, his nature declares it. The Capo lives the same way. He doesn't go around pleading for recognition. He enforces his value by the way he moves, the way he talks, and the way he enforces his boundaries. The truth is, if you have to ask for respect, you've already lost it. Taking respect by positioning. Respect is taken through positioning. Where you place yourself in life determines how people treat you. Walk into a room with your shoulders bent, your voice uncertain, your eyes darting, and you'll be ignored. Walk into the same room with presence, upright, calm, self-assured, and people sense your authority before you say a word. Positioning is not arrogance, it's strategy. It's showing people where you belong before they decide for you. Taking respect by boundaries. A Capo doesn't need to raise his hand often, but he raises it when necessary. Boundaries are the line in the sand, and when that line is crossed, you respond with clarity, not hesitation. Respect grows where consequences are enforced. If people cross you without penalty, they will never respect you. But when every disrespect meets a response, when betrayal carries a cost, when your no actually means no, then your reputation becomes untouchable. Taking respect by results. Respect doesn't come only from intimidation, it also comes from results. People may doubt your words, but they can't deny your outcomes. The Capo builds victories, small and large, that prove his place without argument. Results are louder than demands. A man who produces, who delivers, who wins consistently doesn't need to beg for recognition. The world bends to results. The balance of force and grace. Taking respect doesn't mean being reckless. It doesn't mean bullying. It doesn't mean living angry. Respect is taken with precision, not desperation. The Capo knows when to speak, when to strike, and when to remain silent. Too much force and you create enemies. Too much grace and you invite predators. The mastery is in the balance. Command respect with strength, but hold it with wisdom. The Capo's creed. Etch this truth in your mind. Don't wait for respect. Don't beg for respect. Don't ask for respect. Take it, command it, live it. The world respects the man who respects himself first and enforces that respect at all costs. Key takeaway of Chapter 2. Respect isn't a charity, it's a conquest. It is seized through positioning, boundaries, and results. A Capo never waits for recognition, he takes it by living as the authority without apology. Chapter 3. Authority without apology. Authority is not borrowed, it is not rented, it is not something you ask permission to wear. Authority is seized, it is carried, it is lived without apology. The man who apologizes for his authority, who softens his strength to make others comfortable, is no Capo. He is a puppet, waiting for approval from the very people who should be bowing to his command. A Capo knows this. If you shrink your power for others, they will consume you. If you stand tall in it, they will align themselves to your presence. The trap of apology. Look around. Most leaders fall into the same trap. They over-explain, they over-justify, they dilute their decisions just to avoid conflict. This isn't leadership, it's insecurity dressed up as diplomacy. The Capo doesn't explain his every move. His decisions carry weight simply because he made them. Authority isn't about convincing, it's about establishing. Apology signals doubt, and doubt kills respect. The unshakable frame. To carry authority without apology, you must build what I call the unshakable frame. This means you do not let outside noise dictate your stance. If you say no, it's no. If you set a rule, it stands. If you make a decision, it doesn't bend because someone feels offended. Weak men bend to emotions. The Capo bends only to strategy, and that's why people trust his word even when they fear it. The weight of words. Every word a Capo speaks is currency. He doesn't waste it. He doesn't cheapen it. He doesn't fill silence with noise. When he speaks with finality, not as a man begging to be understood, but as a man declaring the law. This is why his words echo. This is why his commands are followed. Apologetic leaders explain themselves into weakness. Capos let their words stand, sharp and unbending. Authority in action. Authority without apology is more than tone, it's lifestyle. It's walking into a room like you belong there. It's keeping your posture steady when challenged. It's commanding attention without needing to demand it. It's enforcing discipline without raising your voice. Authority is not in shouting, it's in presence. It's in the calm certainty that you are in control. The difference between respect and approval. Here's a truth most never learn. People don't have to like you to respect you. Approval is cheap, but respect is priceless. Chasing approval makes you weak. Chasing respect makes you untouchable. The capo doesn't apologize because he doesn't need approval. He only needs obedience and respect. The capo's commandment. Carve this law deep into your mind. Do not apologize for authority. Do not dilute it. Do not disguise it. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be obeyed, to be respected, to be remembered. Authority is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form, and it belongs to the one bold enough to carry it without apology. Key takeaway of Chapter 3. Authority is weakened by apology. A capo carries his authority without explanation, without dilution, without fear. His praise. Chapter 4. The silent power of confidence. In a world full of noise, the man who is silent becomes the loudest voice. That is the paradox of true confidence. A capo does not need to prove himself with chatter, nor does he waste energy convincing others of his worth. His power is in his silence, his steadiness, his unshakable composure. Confidence is not about what you say, it's about what you don't need to say. The story of the sit-down. Picture this, a long oak table, heavy with cigars, glasses of whiskey, and men who each think they're the smartest in the room. Tension fills the air. Every man wants to speak, to assert, to dominate. But at the head of the table sits the capo. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't rush to make his case. He sits in silence, steady, his eyes cutting through the room. The longer he waits, the quieter the room grows. Soon, the loud ones run out of words. Their arguments collapse under the weight of his silence. Finally, when he does speak, his voice is calm, deliberate, measured, one sentence, one decision, and no one dares to argue. That, my friend, is the silent power of confidence. Confidence is not noise. Confidence is never loud. In fact, insecurity is often disguised as noise. The man who shouts, boasts, and brags is usually the man who fears being ignored. The capo doesn't fear being ignored because his presence ensures he never is. He doesn't need to announce himself, people already feel him. Confidence is the ability to move without desperation. It is the calm certainty that you are in control, even when others don't yet realize it. The 3 marks of silent confidence. To command respect like a capo, your confidence must show up in 3 ways. 1. Body language, shoulders square, eyes steady, movements deliberate. No fidgeting, no restless energy. Your body must communicate power without a single word. 2. Control of voice, speak slowly, speak with certainty, don't rush, don't over-explain. Every word is measured as if time itself bends to your pace. 3. Comfort with silence, the weak fear silence. The strong weaponize it, pausing before you answer, letting others fill the gap with their own nervous chatter. That's power. Confidence builds authority. Understand this, people follow confidence more than truth. They follow certainty more than logic. They respect conviction more than intelligence. If you are certain, calmly, unapologetically certain, others will align themselves to you, not because you demanded it, but because your presence gave them no other option. Confidence is not arrogance. Arrogance screams, confidence whispers, and still commands the room. The capo's creed of confidence. Write this into your mind. Confidence doesn't shout, it stands. Confidence doesn't chase, it attracts. Confidence doesn't explain, it declares. The Capo understands that silence is not weakness, it is the sharpest blade in his arsenal, and when wielded with certainty, it makes men bow without a fight. Key takeaway of Chapter 4. Confidence is not in words, but in presence. The Capo's silent confidence bends rooms, quiets rivals, and commands respect without effort. True confidence is calm, unshakable, and undeniable. Chapter 5. The Rules of Command, Boundaries and Discipline. A kingdom without walls will always be invaded. A man without boundaries will always be disrespected. And a leader without discipline will always be overthrown. A Capo understands this truth. Authority survives only where boundaries are enforced and discipline is unshakable. Respect isn't kept by charisma alone, it is protected by rules that no one dares to break. The Capo's table, where rules are law. Imagine the Capo at the head of his table. The men around him know the code. They know the rules. They know what lines must never be crossed. One man tries to push. He arrives late, dismissive, casual. The Capo doesn't explode in anger. He doesn't beg for better behavior. He simply enforces the law of the table. Perhaps a word, perhaps a consequence, but one thing is certain, the man will never cross that line again. Boundaries are not negotiated, they are enforced. Why boundaries command respect? People respect what you protect. If you allow disrespect once, you invite it forever. Boundaries are the invisible fences around your authority. When they are clear and enforced, others know exactly how to treat you. If you accept lateness, people will always arrive late. If you accept excuses, people will always give them. If you tolerate disrespect, people will make it a habit. Respect grows where boundaries are guarded. The discipline of a Capo. Boundaries are nothing without discipline. A Capo lives by discipline first, because he cannot command others if he cannot command himself. Discipline means rising when others are still asleep, preparing when others are distracted, keeping your word even when it costs you, staying calm when others lose control. Discipline builds an iron reputation. People may test your rules, but if you enforce them with consistency, they will stop testing and start obeying. The danger of compromise. The downfall of many leaders is compromise. The moment you bend your rules for convenience, you destroy the respect those rules once commanded. The Capo never makes empty threats. He never enforces selectively. He never sets rules he cannot keep. His word is law because he never breaks it, not for friendship, not for comfort, not for weakness. Compromise is poison. Consistency is power. Boundaries with yourself. The hardest boundaries are not with others, they are with yourself. A Capo disciplines his appetites, his emotions, his impulses. He controls his tongue. He controls his anger. He controls his greed. He controls his fear. Because if a man cannot command himself, he has no right to command anyone else. The Capo's commandments of boundaries. 1. Set clear rules. Vague boundaries are ignored. 2. Enforce consistently. One exception destroys 1,000 rules. 3. Lead by discipline. Your example is the greatest boundary. 4. Never apologize for the law. Rules are not suggestions, they are the pillars of respect. Final word. The Capo doesn't need to shout, threaten, or plead. His rules stand like iron. His discipline builds his legend, and his presence alone reminds everyone this man commands because his boundaries cannot be broken. Key takeaway of Chapter 5. Authority survives on boundaries and discipline. The Capo enforces rules without compromise and governs himself before he governs others. Respect is protected by consistency, not by chance. Chapter 6. Psychological warfare, controlling perception. Power doesn't always come from muscle or money. The sharpest weapon a capo wields is the mind, his ability to shape what others see, feel, and believe. This is psychological warfare, not violence, not shouting, but perception. The man who controls perception controls reality. The art of illusion. People don't respond to truth, they respond to what they perceive as truth. A capo understands this. He knows that image is as powerful as substance. Dress with authority, and people treat you as authority. Speak with certainty, and people believe you even before evidence. Move with calmness under pressure, and others assume you're in control. It is not enough to be powerful, you must look powerful. Respect often begins in the eyes before it reaches the heart. The silence that shifts the room. Picture a tense sit-down between rival crews. One side arrives loud, trying to intimidate with numbers and noise. The capo sits calm, silent, unshaken. He doesn't need to flex, his composure unnerves them. Soon the loud ones grow nervous. They sense something they cannot name, certainty. They wonder, what does he know that we do? Why is he so calm? And just like that, the capo has turned the room. Without words, he bent perception. Weapons of psychological warfare. One mystery never reveal everything. The unknown creates tension, and tension creates respect. 2. Timing. Speak less, wait longer. The man who controls when things happen is the man who controls how they happen. 3. Contrast. Appear calm when others are heated, firm when others are weak. The difference amplifies your strength. 4. Reputation. Let stories of your firmness travel ahead of you. People will treat you with respect before you even arrive. Controlling the enemy's perception. A capo knows perception doesn't just command allies, it paralyzes enemies. Sometimes you don't need to fight. You let fear fight for you. A rumor, a story, a glance, small things that plant doubt and hesitation. Many battles are won before they even begin because perception destroyed the enemy's confidence. Perception in leadership. This is not only street strategy, it's life strategy. In business, in leadership, in relationships, people respond more to what they think you are than what you actually are. That's why weak men work endlessly to prove themselves, while strong men simply carry themselves with certainty. One is exhausting, the other is effortless. Perception builds authority faster than argument. The capo's laws of psychological warfare. 1. Control what they see, and you control what they believe. 2. Say less, but make it weigh more. 3. Let silence and timing do half your talking. 4. Be consistent. Uncertainty destroys the illusion. Final word. Respect is not only enforced by action, it is engineered by perception. A capo never leaves his image to chance. He shapes it, guards it, and wields it as a weapon. Because in the end, the world doesn't treat you as you are, it treats you as you appear. And the capo always appears untouchable. Key takeaway of Chapter 6. Psychological warfare is the capo's invisible weapon. By controlling perception, he bends reality, commands respect, and wins battles before they start. Chapter 7. Fear versus love, the balance of power. For centuries, men of power have asked the same question: is it better to be feared or loved? Machiavelli gave the answer most leaders are afraid to say aloud: if you cannot be both, it is safer to be feared. But the capo knows better. He knows the real secret lies in balance. Too much fear breeds rebellion, too much love breeds weakness. The man who masters both stands unshakable. The capo's dilemma. Picture a young boss rising fast. His men adore him, he buys them drinks, he laughs with them, he forgives their mistakes. For a while, the loyalty seems strong, but the first time money goes missing, respect crumbles, love without fear has no teeth. Now picture another boss, iron-fisted, cold, unrelenting. His men fear him so deeply that they obey without question, but in secret, they resent him. They wait for the moment he shows weakness so they can tear him down. Fear without love has no heart. The Capo understands this. Survival demands both. The currency of fear. Fear is primal. It keeps order when temptation whispers rebellion. Fear ensures betrayal carries a cost. Fear keeps boundaries sharp and untested. Fear makes men think twice before crossing you. But fear alone is fragile. If your power slips for even a moment, the same fear that kept men in line will ignite their rebellion. A tyrant rules on borrowed time. The currency of love. Love, or more accurately, respect born of admiration, is equally necessary. Love makes men protect you even in your absence. Love makes loyalty personal, not transactional. Love makes followers turn into defenders of your name. But love without strength becomes weakness. People admire kindness, but they exploit softness. The balance of power. So how does the Capo maintain both? Through discipline in 3 areas. 1. Reward and punishment. Be generous, but never indulgent. Reward loyalty with honor. Punish betrayal with certainty. Men must know you can bless them, but you can also break them. 2. Presence and distance. Be close enough to inspire loyalty, but distant enough to inspire respect. Too much closeness erodes authority. Too much distance erodes loyalty. 3. Justice and mercy. Be fair, but never weak. Show mercy when it strengthens loyalty. Show justice when it strengthens respect. The Capo never acts out of emotion, only out of strategy. The lesson of the Capo. Fear keeps men obedient. Love keeps men devoted. Together, they create loyalty that survives storms, battles, and betrayals. The Capo is both the protector and the executioner, the hand that blesses and the hand that punishes. Too much of either, and he falls. The perfect balance makes him untouchable. The Capo's commandment. If they only fear you, they will desert you. If they only love you, they will use you. But if they both fear and love you, they will never betray you. That is the true balance of power. Key takeaway of Chapter 7. Fear alone enslaves. Love alone weakens. But the Capo who balances fear with respect-driven love becomes unstoppable, commanding loyalty that endures both peace and chaos. Chapter 8. The Code of Loyalty and Betrayal. In the world of power, loyalty is the highest currency. It cannot be bought, only tested. And betrayal, the breaking of that currency, is the one crime a Capo never forgives. The story of the betrayer. Picture the Capo at his table. Around him sit men he has raised, fed, and protected. Among them is one, quiet, trusted, given opportunities others only dream of. But temptation whispers, greed grows, the man takes what is not his. At first, no one notices, but the Capo always knows. When the betrayal comes to light, the room grows silent. No shouting, no chaos. The Capo simply looks at him, calm, steady. One sentence seals his fate. You ate at my table, and you betrayed my trust. The consequence is swift, not just for justice, but for preservation. Betrayal left unanswered breeds more betrayal. The others must learn, loyalty is sacred, and betrayal carries a cost no man wants to pay. Why loyalty is everything. A Capo knows, money can be stolen, power can be challenged, respect can be tested. But loyalty, true loyalty, is what sustains authority. Loyalty is what makes men stand beside you in battle. Loyalty is what makes your name defended even when you're not present. Loyalty is the foundation of legacy. Without loyalty, you rule over nothing but fear, and fear without loyalty crumbles in time. The code of loyalty. The Capo lives and enforces a code. 1. Loyalty above profit. Money can be regained, trust cannot. A loyal man is priceless. 2. Never betray the hand that feeds you. The man who gives you opportunity is sacred. To betray him is to destroy yourself. 3. Loyalty must be proven, not declared. Words mean nothing. Loyalty is revealed in actions, especially when tested by temptation. 4. Protect the absent. True loyalty defends the capo's name when he is not in the room. If you stay silent in betrayal, you are a betrayer too. 5. Loyalty is a two-way street. The capo rewards loyalty with protection, honor, and opportunity. He does not demand what he will not also give. The law of betrayal. Betrayal is the cancer of power. Allow it once and it spreads. The capo understands betrayal must be cut out immediately, completely, and without hesitation, not out of vengeance, but survival. This is why the capo does not forgive betrayal. Mercy may heal mistakes, but betrayal destroys trust forever, and without trust, there is nothing to rebuild. The capo's commandment. Loyalty is sacred. Betrayal is final. A man without loyalty is a man without value. The capo builds his empire on loyalty and burns betrayal at the root. Key takeaway of Chapter 8. Loyalty is the foundation of respect and authority. The capo rewards it with opportunity and honor, but he punishes betrayal with finality, because where betrayal is tolerated, power dies. Chapter 9. Respect in business and the streets. Respect is the one language spoken in every corner of life, whether in a backroom deal under dim light or a boardroom negotiation lit by fluorescent bulbs. The capo knows, without respect you have no leverage, with it you command the room. Respect in the streets. In the streets, respect is survival. It is not requested, it is enforced. The man who shows weakness is marked. The man who stands firm is recognized. When the capo walks through his neighborhood, eyes lower not out of fear, but acknowledgement. His presence alone is a declaration of power. Respect here is earned by decisiveness, control, and strength of character. If a man disrespects you in the streets and you ignore it, the whole neighborhood learns they can do the same. The capo responds swiftly, not recklessly, but with authority. Respect lost once is difficult to regain. Respect in business. The same law applies in business. The boardroom is not so different from the streets. The stakes are just dressed in suits instead of leather jackets. Respect in business is built not only on what you say, but on what you deliver. A man of results commands respect. A man of excuses loses it. Business partners, clients, employees, they all look to see if your words align with your actions. Just as in the streets, respect in business requires firmness. If you let people take advantage once, they will test you again. The capo understands. In the streets, disrespect costs your life. In business, disrespect costs your legacy. The Code of Respect, Street and Business Edition. 1. Stand firm in every arena, whether in a meeting or on a corner. Never allow your voice to tremble. People respect certainty, not hesitation. 2. Deliver what you promise. In business, your reputation is your currency. In the streets, your word is your bond. Break it once and trust dies. 3. Set boundaries early. If people don't know the line they cannot cross, they will test you. Make the rules clear and enforce them. 4. Respect is reciprocal. You don't have to bow, but you must recognize strength in others. The capo respects those who deserve it, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. 5. Respect commands opportunity. In the streets, it keeps you alive. In business, it brings you deals, partnerships, and influence. The capo's lesson. The boardroom and the streets may look different, but the law of respect remains the same. In both worlds, people follow strength. In both worlds, weakness is exploited. In both worlds, respect is the foundation of power. The capo teaches, whether you wear a suit or carry scars, if you carry yourself with unshakable respect, you will not just survive, you will dominate. Key takeaway of Chapter 9. Respect is the universal currency of power. The rules of the streets and the rules of business mirror each other. Protect your word, stand firm, enforce boundaries, and respect will follow. Lose it once, and you lose your crown. Chapter 10. The Capo's Law, Becoming Untouchable. Every empire rises and every empire falls. But the Capo knows there is a way to rise above time, betrayal, and opposition. It is called the Capo's law, the art of becoming untouchable. To be untouchable is not to be free of enemies. It is to stand so solid that enemies cannot move you, no matter how hard they strike. The Capo's law is built on power, perception, and permanence. Power that cannot be borrowed. Many chase power by attaching themselves to others, money, connections, titles, but such power can be taken away. The Capo's law says, real power comes from within. Power is not what you hold in your hand, but the fear, loyalty, or respect you hold in the minds of others. Take away a Capo's throne, his wealth, or his territory. If he still commands respect, his empire rebuilds itself. The untouchable man builds power that does not vanish with circumstance. Control the narrative, control the world. The Capo knows perception is stronger than truth. To be untouchable, you must control the story told about you. In the streets, the legend of your name travels farther than your presence. In business, your reputation speaks before you enter the room. The Capo's law: craft your myth carefully, protect it fiercely. If they fear your strength or respect your vision, they will never dare move against you openly. Build a web, not a throne. The weak man builds a throne and waits to be overthrown. The Capo builds a web of influence so wide that cutting one thread changes nothing. He has soldiers in the streets. He has allies in boardrooms. He has favors owed in high places. Untouchable men never depend on one source of power. Their influence spreads like roots underground, hidden, deep, impossible to pull out. Fear and love balanced. A ruler who rules only with fear creates rebellion. A ruler who rules only with love creates entitlement. The Capo's law: fear secures your throne, love secures your legacy. When people both fear your wrath and respect your wisdom, you become untouchable. They cannot betray you easily because they fear the consequence, and they cannot abandon you because they value your leadership. Loyalty beyond death. The untouchable man leaves behind more than riches. He leaves behind loyalty that outlives him. The Capo plants his code so deep in his people that even in his absence, they carry his name with pride and protect his legacy with blood. That is immortality, not living forever, but being remembered forever. The Capo's final word: becoming untouchable is not about avoiding enemies. It is about building a foundation so strong that no enemy can erase you. Power must come from within. Respect must be commanded. Influence must spread beyond a single throne. Balance fear with love. Build loyalty that outlasts your breath. This is the Capo's law. Follow it and you will not just survive battles, you will become untouchable, a name that echoes beyond your time.